Hello and welcome back to Blackwatch Intel. My name is Crashy and today we're going to be discussing the Pharah problem. No, not the Pharah Mercy problem, just the problem with Pharah. So, lately Pharah has definitely been a hot topic in regards to balance and how she plays and is she OP and is Pharah Mercy overpowered. But today I specifically wanted to focus on a select point when it comes to talking about Pharah, and that's her influence on the game. Now, there was actually a recent Reddit post about this, and I actually couldn't find it, so I'm sorry I can't link that in the description below, but I do think it was pretty valid in stating that Pharah actually controls a lot of the game because she forces specific meta picks in terms of being able to deal with her. For example, Soldier, McCree, possibly even Sombra, etc., Widowmaker, yada yada yada. So, why is this? Pharah has the ability to fly, obviously, and she has the ability to stay in the air indefinitely, and I think that is probably the core issue with Pharah. Now, innately, a part of me doesn't want to call her overpowered, but I do think that her ability to almost infinitely fly, or basically permanently fly, does have a strong influence on the game in terms of what picks are viable. So think about defensive heroes, or just heroes in the meta that aren't considered that strong against Pharah, and understand that their viability is coming from a standpoint of not being viable against Pharah because of how viable she is currently. Now, if she did a lot less damage, they might be more viable because the output versus the value versus their positioning might be a little bit higher. Or if she wasn't in the air permanently, their value might be a little bit higher because they would actually have a chance to deal with her in a bit more of a realistic way for their kits. Specifically, we're talking about heroes like Hanzo, Mei, Junkrat, the heroes that have a hard time really getting the Pharah out of the sky, but have an amazing amount of value in other situations, such as holding chokes, kind of controlling capture point maps, and etc. So what do we do with this specifically? Because again, I do want to emphasize the fact that I really don't think that Pharah is overpowered as a hero, but I think the idea of her staying in the sky permanently and consistently pushing out as much damage as she does really forces the meta in a type of way that could be so much more opened up and so much more versatile and open to new team compositions and new defensive picks across the board had she not been such a dominating influence. I'm going to propose two ideas that I have to kind of bring Pharah a bit more in line with the current state of the meta and bring other non-viable heroes a little bit higher up into the fold as well. Now, idea number one is one that I've thought about quite a bit, and I think this is probably my least favorite of the two that I have to propose, and that's simply to reduce her damage in some way. Now, whether this be to give her rocket some kind of accuracy fall off where it fizzles out at the end of its range and you have to lead it better or get closer, thus putting her in a bit more of a dangerous position to do her damage, or giving her some form of damage drop off where the further away her rocket is, the less damage it does, or just simply reducing the rocket damage to 100 rather than 120 on direct hits to then force her to actually hit shots and finish off her targets. Something like that. Reduce her damage, it makes her have to play a little bit more risky, keeps her away from that spammy, super high up in the air kind of backline spammer that she can be very effective doing so, and then having the option to press forward and be really annoying and strong right above you. Now, option number two, and idea number two that I have, is to reduce her fuel or increase the cooldown of her jump. Now, this is a very specific reasoning that I have this particular idea, and it's because of the fact that Pharah simply never comes out of the sky, and that's what calls for having a hit scan on your team guaranteed in the first place. But with that, I don't want to just take that away from her immediately. I did have an idea to propose. So say we nerf her fuel or we nerf her fly cooldown. That keeps her out of the sky. It doesn't allow her to consistently refuel and jump and refuel. And what it does is it will pull her to the ground some. When she's at the ground, I'd like to propose a change to her displacement, adding the option to shoot it straight down and gain verticality out of it. Now, whether that be she's in the sky and it boosts her back up, whether that be she's on the ground, she shoots the ground and it flies her up similar to her jump, but it would force an interesting dynamic to Pharah that would cause her to make a decision with this ability. She would be forced to then boop an enemy, or displace herself vertically, or displace herself horizontally. This, I think, would be an interesting change to Pharah specifically because it's basically redefining her options. It keeps her out of the sky from being that ridiculous, kind of flying, needing a hit scan to counter her pick that we see currently, but it actually does give her the ability to stay in the sky because ultimately if Pharah can't fly, she's just like an interesting version of Junkrat, right? I don't know. So these are my thoughts on Pharah currently. I'd like to see some form of change to her because I really do want to see Mei and Junkrat and Hanzo be the strong characters and the strong heroes that they are. I mean, these characters are actually strong, but in the meta, you see one of those heroes, you pick Pharah because they can't do anything to her. So let's pull her out of the sky, let's nerf her damage in some kind of way. Like I said, I don't know if this makes her overpowered, but I definitely think I'd like to see a change to kind of healthen up the state of the current damage rolls in the game. I don't know. I want to see more going on. I don't want to see Pharah Mercy every game. I'd love to see an amazing Hanzo or Mei player come out of spawn and be able to dominate. I think that would be really fun. So thanks again for watching this video. Please do not leave without leaving a like and subscribe if you have not done so as well. We're going to be putting out videos almost daily, if not daily. I appreciate you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my two ideas, because they're definitely a little bit different. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.